Welcome to our Communiversity today, sponsored by Pendleton Community Bank and Cucumber and Company, a community affairs program from West Virginia Institute of Technology in Beckley, hosted by Dr. T. Ramon Stewart, president of West Virginia University Institute of Technology, working to make a difference in Southern West Virginia. Guest opinions expressed on this program may not represent the opinions of West Virginia University Institute of Technology, Southern Communications, or its sponsors. And now, with today's program, here's Dr. Stewart.
Welcome to our Communiversity today. Dr. Ramon Stewart, president of WVU Tech here in Beckley, and I'm thankful that you chose to be with us today as we explore our Communiversity. And when you think about the Communiversity, it really is a matter of us coming together to help one another in times of need. And one of the ways that occurs is when we reach out to each other, meet people where they are, and help them go places they've never dreamed of going. One of the entities that I have with me today as we look to explore how we help each other is none other than Trena Decal, who serves as the executive director of the United Way of Southern West Virginia. She will join us today to search for answers to our two questions: why not us and why not now? And when we think about being in times of need, those two questions are more and more important each day. So right after this break, we'll be back with more Our Communiversity Today on News Talk WWNR.
Bank with purpose and Golden Bear pride at Pendleton Community Bank. Our WVU Tech Affinity debit card does more than make purchases. It makes a difference. Every swipe supports the William Bill Benn Student Success Fund, helping WVU Tech students facing financial hardships stay on track to achieve their dreams. Show your school spirit and help shape the future, one transaction at a time. Visit yourbank.bank to get started today. Pendleton Community Bank, here for students, here for community, here for you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
WVU Tech is celebrating 130 years, and you're invited to celebrate with us. Saturday, September 27th from 10 to 2, the Beckley campus comes alive with classic cars, food trucks, inflatables, games, and campus tours. It's free, it's festive, and it's for everyone. Whether you're an alumni, a neighbor, or just love a good time, come celebrate 130 years of Golden Bear pride. WVU Tech is turning 130. Join us for the big celebration. We'll see you there.
Make it alive, make it alive, ha, 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 make it alive.
At Cucumber and Company, we're all about making your site live. If you need a new website or an upgrade, we can help. And that's no jive talking. You should be calling us right now, 304-250-0123 or cucumberandcompany.com.
Welcome back to our Communiversity today. Again, we are visiting Trena Decal, who serves as the executive director of the United Way of Southern West Virginia, to discuss the role that the United Way plays in uniting us all. Trena, how are you today?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I am excellent. You know, it's kind of a brisk day and everything, and we're out here and people are starting, the days are getting shorter and football is on and people's favorite teams are losing more often than not and stuff. But, you know, it's certainly a great day to be alive and great time here in Southern West Virginia. So, Trena, you serve as the executive director of the United Way of Southern West Virginia. How does one become the executive director of the United Way?
Well, like Bob Ross has always said, it may have been a happy little accident. I became involved with United Way 10 or 12 years ago when I started volunteering with them. The Wonderland of Trees is one of our standard traditional fundraisers, and my husband and I provided a tree for one of their events, attended the auction, and really didn't know much about the why of where the money goes and how all that happens. And as I came to learn more about it, I got more and more involved and was asked to serve on their board of directors, which I did for about 6 years. And after that, the previous director stepped down, and the executive committee at the United Way asked me to step into that role. I had a lot of historical knowledge. I still absolutely love what United Way does, and it was the right season for me. So it was a great fit, and I was very happy to say yes.
Yes, I love to hear the not only the right season, but also the fit. Having that experience on the board of directors and working with and the Festival of Trees, I'll tell you, last year was the second time I attended the Festival of Trees. I made the mistake of bringing my daughter
Which
with
we
me.
appreciate.
I know you appreciate because she just had that little voting sign and she kept throwing up her hand to get trees. And so we bought a lot of Christmas trees that day. But it was a wonderful experience in the different locations you've been and just the smiles that were placed on people's face. And I can't help but notice here in studio today the smile that's on your face. Tell me what about the United Way that makes you smile?
There are so many things at United Way, and many days are quite difficult. And, they're not days that those of us in the office are feeling at our best or feeling like we can smile because we're hearing some stories from local residents in Southern West Virginia of their struggles. But the smile that stays on my face is the commitment, the love that I have for what we do, and knowing that we bring solutions to so many of those people. We bring resources to the community, and we connect people in a way that is very familiar to you in your philosophy of Communiversity. It's all about living united and being part of the bigger community.
Yeah, I love it. And when you talk about being part of the big community, you talk about some days are not as bright as others. The United Way of Southern West Virginia has been around a little while.
We have. We are celebrating our 60th anniversary this year. It was founded in 1965 locally in Raleigh County. And since that time, we've enlarged our coverage area to where we now support 7 counties in Southern West Virginia, in addition to the town of Bluefield, Virginia.
Yeah, I love how you've been able to expand over the past 60 years and really provide a blanket or a safety net and stuff for our community. But when we think about that, you've heard people say the United Way and everything. But what are some of the things the United Way actually does? When you talk about some days not being as bright as others, what are some of those things that darken the days?
The primary goal for our United Way and all United Ways is to improve health, education, and financial stability of our neighbors. And the way we do that is through grant funding. We do a great deal of fundraising, like we've mentioned, Wonderland of Trees, Dancing with the Stars that's coming up. And we do that so we can support our community partners, agencies within those 7 counties who provide resources to the community, but often don't have the full budget that they need to bring those resources to the table. So what we do is fundraising for those entities. We have greater name recognition sometimes, more of a media presence, and we do a great deal of fundraising so that we can support home delivered meals for seniors and food pantries for families that just aren't making their budget. Child advocacy centers who hear some just incredible, horrific things that children have experienced, and we want to bring them the healing that they need. So all of our fundraising goes to that. But in addition, we have a 211 information and referral hotline. So there's a woman in my office who receives about 30 calls a day from people who are looking for resources. They have a certain need and they don't know where to turn. They can call 211 if that's a non-emergency need. Obviously, 911 is there for those that are medical emergencies or others. But 211 is there for that need for someone who is looking for a local resource. They've never had to utilize a social service before, and they just don't know where to turn. And Marcia often hears some very difficult things and brings those to us so we can figure out how to find solutions to those. And then she takes those solutions back to the callers and refers them to the entities that can provide help. So you can imagine, 20 to 30 of those calls each day often, can bring us to a place where we're thinking there is so much need, there is so much discomfort, there is so much struggle in the area. But fortunately, it can bring a smile back to our faces because we are providing the information on how to meet that need. We are providing resources for people who are in dire straits, and we are providing the information that will bring them to a resolution of their problems.
I love it. I'll be honest with you. I'd never heard of 211. I've heard of the number call before you dig, obviously 911, and then some of the mental health crisis numbers. But when you look at 211, I think that's so appropriate. And so you all spend time triaging, especially when we look at the individual families, just connecting. So if are calls like I'm housing insecure, I'm food insecure. Is that how it is?
Absolutely. A great deal of the calls are for utility assistance for people who have received termination notices on their utility bills. And then another great percentage is for those folks who are housing insecure. They're looking for housing, they're looking for assistance with their housing. The next category that we see is for food assistance. But it is a myriad of calls that we receive, mental health resources we can get people connected to, medical transportation. One caller that we received, a call that we received last year was from a lady in her 70s, and she had just been informed that her prescription was going to increase from about $80 a month to around $340 a month. And she was on a fixed income, which was quite low. So $80 a month was already problematic for her to be paying for her prescription, but she was making that work. To have that quadruple was completely out of pocket, and she was panicked. She had counted down the number of pills that she had remaining before she had to get another prescription. And luckily, Marcia, who was in our office, had some resources. She reached out and found the Johnson & Johnson Foundation that has vouchers for prescriptions, gave this lady that information, and then she came to our office because there was more than just the information dissemination that was needed. She, needed to have her doctor fill out some information and some forms to fax to the foundation, and she didn't have access to those things. So she came to the office, we helped her do that, we faxed her doctor, we faxed the foundation, we got all those resources in place for her, and she was able actually to lower the cost of her prescription to closer to $60 per month than the initial $340 that she was awestruck by, and below the initial cost that she was paying.
Yeah, I love it as I'm hearing you talk, and I'm thinking, it's the name of the organization is the United Way, but truly you unite people to make a way out of no way is what you're telling me.
We do. We are a community connector. We are bringing, whether that is donors who want to support the community and they have specific needs that are on their heart and they want to donate to United Way, we're connecting them with those resources that are in the community. Or if it's people who are in need who are calling us to say, I don't know where to turn. And we say it's a non-emergency service, but for these folks, it is an emergency. This is someone who could not call 911 and say, I'm struggling, I'm not going to be able to get my prescription, because that's not something that they have the resources for. We want to take the burden off of 911 for those non-emergency calls, for those to be utilized for the medical and the law enforcement emergencies. But it is an emergency in that household when someone is looking at a quadruple expense, then they're usually looking forward, and they know that they're not going to be able to get, potentially a life-saving or a life-changing medication. So there are many calls like that. People who are looking at utility terminations. They have children at home. Just this year, we got a call from someone, single mom, who had to make a choice about making a payment on her electric payment plan and a car payment. She has to have her car to go to work. So she made that car payment and put off the utility payment plan, which made the utility bill balance to her in full. And that was so prohibitive to her. We were able to connect a bunch of community resources, Salvation Army, Catholic Charities, other folks in town, like some local churches who offer utility assistance. We brought them all together with some resources of our own to get that utility bill paid so that mom could make sure there were utilities in the home for her children, and she didn't have to look at that termination notice.
Absolutely phenomenal. 30 calls a day, 150 calls a week, 600 calls a month, 7,200 calls a year, where you're uniting people to the things they need. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short break. In studio again, Trena Decal, Executive Director of the United Way of Southern West Virginia. We're going to take a short break. Stay tuned to News Talk WWNR for more Our Communiversity Today.
Bank with purpose and Golden Bear pride. At Pendleton Community Bank, our WVU Tech Affinity debit card does more than make purchases. It makes a difference. Every swipe supports the William Bill Benn Student Success Fund, helping WVU Tech students facing financial hardships stay on track to achieve their dreams. Show your school spirit and help shape the future, one transaction at a time. Visit yourbank.bank to get started today. Pendleton Community Bank, here for students, here for community, here for you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
alive, making it live. Ha, 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 making it live.
At Cucumber and Company, we're all about making your site live. If you need a new website or an upgrade, we can help. And that's no jive talking. You should be calling us right now, 304-250-0123 or cucumberandcompany.com.
WVU Tech is celebrating 130 years, and you're invited to celebrate with us. Saturday, September 27th from 10 to 2, the Beckley campus comes alive with classic cars, food trucks, inflatables, games, and campus tours. It's free, it's festive, and it's for everyone. Whether you're an alumni, a neighbor, or just love a good time, come celebrate 130 years of Golden Bear Pride. WVU Tech is turning 130. Join us for the big celebration. We'll see you there.
Welcome back to our Communiversity today. Again, in studio is Trena Decal, who serves as the executive director of the United Way of Southern West Virginia. And we're talking about how the United Way unites the community to help make a way out of no way. And again, ladies and gentlemen, I just made that up on my own because as I sit in studio and watch Trena and her dedication, the smile that emanates from her face, the work that they've done to actually help individual families. But Trena, you also do work to bring organizations to the table. How does that look?
We do. Over the past several years, we've had an average of 33 to 35 community partners. And those community partners are 501c3s within the geographic coverage area that we support. They submit grant applications to us in the spring of each year. Those applications, the portal opens in March, it closes in May. They submit a grant application, and then my board of directors goes out to vet every single one of those applicants. We send them out in teams. They visit the sites that the applicants provide their resources from. They review the financials. They review whether or not it meets the mission of United Way. And then my board determines whether or not we're going to partner with those organizations in the fall. After the majority of our fundraising is done, we determine how much we're going to reinvest in those community partners. For 2025, it was $420,000. So of those 34 community partners this year, many of them received the maximum amount of $25,000. Some had smaller needs and asked for lesser funding. We have supported some agencies at $8,000 and $10,000 and $12,000, but that goes to support the programs that they're providing the community.
Now, can the agency get funding consecutive years?
Absolutely.
Excellent.
They will be reviewed each year that they applied for funding. We have many long-term partners. I immediately think of those that are just right here on Kanawha Street, like the Raleigh County Commission on Aging. They are a long-term partner, and they provide incredible resources to the community. We support their home-delivered meals program for seniors. There's about 200 seniors who receive a home-delivered meal, actually 6 meals. They receive 2 every other day during the week. And so we help support that program. The funding they receive doesn't quite meet the cost of that, and we make up the gap. Just a little farther down the road is Food for Body and Soul, which is part of the Heart of God Ministries, and we support their food pantry. They do food distributions, and they deliver food once a month, and we help bridge the gap in the cost of them purchasing that food. As we know, it gets more and more expensive every year. If you just travel a little farther down the road, it's Just for Kids Child Advocacy Center that I mentioned earlier that provides a lot of resources for children who've been harmed incredibly by trusted people in their lives. So they're providing therapy, forensic interviews, healing for those kids in the best way that they can. And that's what our fundraising does. We want to raise more and more money every year.
We appreciate that. We actually, one of the first shows on our Communiversity today was with Dr. Johnson, who oversees Just for Kids. And we brought the nursing program at WVU Tech together with Just for Kids because we realized there's a void in Southern West Virginia of pediatric sexual assault nurses. And if you don't have that type of certification, the young people that have been violated or allegedly violated would have to be transported to Charleston or Morgantown. And it could take hours, if not days, before they could get the appropriate screening. And so we've worked in collaboration with them, but we do have to go through and send some people to Alabama for a 40-hour training. And so it sounds like collaborations with entities like the United Way could help us, even in our funding situation, be able to do that. And I think it's important for our audience to visit our website where we'll have more information about your grant process and the way that you can get engaged and get involved, bring new ideas, and find ways to unite. But to do all of this stuff, to give out $420,000 in grants, basically on an annual basis or whatever, there's an old saying, it takes money to make money.
That's
all right.
right.
And so with that thought in mind, how does the United Way come up with $420,000 or more dollars a year?
Well, as I said, 420,000 was reinvested into our community partners through those grants, but that doesn't take into account our equal footing shoe fund. We distribute about 1,000 pairs of shoes annually to children in need who don't have proper footwear when they get to school, and counselors and administrators reach out to us. So we try to do the best and be best stewards of that money, but we're purchasing a lot of shoes. We're supporting the 211 information and referral hotline. So we do that through direct fundraising. Events like Dancing with the Stars, Wonderland of Trees, our Rubber Ducky Cash Dash, workplace campaigns where we're allowed to visit a workplace and give a presentation about how the United Way supports our local community, and then ask employees to make payroll deductions. As little as $5 a paycheck makes a huge, huge impact on our fundraising at United Way. $5 a paycheck can buy an untold number of diapers or wipes for a baby pantry, cases and cases of food for a food pantry. It can support about 100 of those home delivered meals for isolated seniors that are delivered by the Raleigh County Commission on Aging. So people don't realize less than a cup of, I won't mention the name brand, but less than a cup of coffee that they're driving through to get every morning. $5 a paycheck every 2 weeks makes a huge, huge difference in a lot of lives. And we do that fundraising all year long. We do the best we can to meet and exceed the goal that's set by my board of directors, which was $875,000 for this year. We met the $850,000 goal next year, and what our hope is to always increase the funding that we distribute in Southern West Virginia.
Well, I tell you, again, I mentioned my daughter and I went to the Festival of Trees, and our good friend, Dr. Bonnie Copenhaver, who's the president of New River Community and Technical College, my daughter, Dr. Copenhaver, got together and got into a bidding war with some gentleman that was trying to take a tree from a 6-year-old, ladies and gentlemen. And we made sure that we were going to win that tree. And so I think it came with some good donations. And I just love the energy and the atmosphere at the Festival of Trees. But Dancing with the Stars, you talked about that. And I'm so excited. My wife and I will be joining. And at our particular table, some of the leading students from WVU Tech who have service in their heart will be our guests. But that event is a showstopper. Tell us more about Dancing with the Stars, the who, what, where, how, and why about this program.
Dancing with the Stars is our biggest fundraiser of the year. We're in our 12th season. We did have to take a couple years off due to COVID because, like I said, we're doing face-to-face fundraising. We're bringing 1,000 people together in the Raleigh County Convention Center to do this event. But every year we ask 6 local teams to give us their time and their effort to put together some great dance routines to perform on that night. But in addition, they do a lot of fundraising throughout the season. So they're competing for 2 things, the Judges' Choice Award, which is their dance routine, but the People's Choice Award, which is how much money they have raised for United Way. And again, all that's going to stay right here in the local community. But they are people like Laura and Rick Fisher, who is a nurse practitioner and a retired firefighter out of Beckley Fire Department. Brianna Duckworth and her husband, Gabriel Kasner, who are both right here locally. Cosette Mullins, who works for Access Health, and Bryce Radford, who has a basketball academy here to support local people. Then we have Tammy Klein with the IRS and Todd Howell with Beckley ARH, who've been working so hard all season long. We have Emily Williams and Cameron Shaman, who are both educators at Crescent Elementary and so well supported and well loved. And then we wrap that up with Courtney White and Rivers Up Church. Courtney is with Raleigh General Hospital and Rivers is with WVNS. Those people are paired with choreographers who just show them the ropes and give so much of their time as well to put on a great event on the night of September 19th.
Yeah, I think it's neat. And some of those names there One is my daughter's actual gym teacher.
Yes.
And he is so engaged and enthusiastic, and you have so many different leaders there. And I remember you all made a little call to me asking me, was I ready to do it? And I tell you, and my wife will tell you, I really enjoy dancing quite a bit. But man, you all work harder than I'm used to working with Dancing with the Stars. I mean, the amount of practice and everything, and I just love it because you can tell that particular commitment and the way it's shaped. This year, your goal for Dancing with the Stars is how much money?
Well, we would love to exceed what was raised last year, which was a record-setting total at over $300,000. We'll see. We've had all of their fundraising coming in over the past few months, and they've done an incredible job. A goal was set last year by a few of our dance teams, and they really exceeded the team individual fundraising in a big, big way, and they've made it a huge standard for these other teams to follow. So we are incredibly thankful for every dollar that they raise, and we know that they have learned a lot along the way as well. So we're really grateful for that.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's a challenge out there. And there's nothing wrong with having a record last year, except not breaking it this year.
That's right.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, we have Trena Decal, the executive director of the United Way of Southern West Virginia, in studio. We're going to take a short break, so stick with News Talk WWNR as we close out this edition of our Communiversity today.
Bank with purpose and Golden Bear pride. At Pendleton Community Bank, our WVU Tech Affinity debit card does more than make purchases. It makes a difference. Every swipe supports the William Bill Benn Student Success Fund, helping WVU Tech students facing financial hardships stay on track to achieve their dreams. Show your school spirit and help shape the future, one transaction at a time. Visit yourbank.bank to get started today. Pendleton Community Bank, here for students, here for community, here for you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
WVU Tech is celebrating 130 years, and you're invited to celebrate with us. Saturday, September 27th from 10 to 2, the Beckley campus comes alive with classic cars, food trucks, inflatables, games, and campus tours. It's free, it's festive, and it's for everyone. Whether you're an alumni, a neighbor, or just love a good time, come celebrate 130 years of Golden Bear pride. WVU Tech is turning 130. Join us for the big celebration. We'll see you there.
Make it alive, make it alive. Ha, 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 make it alive.
At Cucumber & Company, we're all about making your site live. If you need a new website or an upgrade, we can help. And that's no jive talking. You should be calling us right now, 304-250-0123 or cucumberandcompany.com.
Welcome back to our Communiversity today. Again, I want to thank our guest, Trena Decal, who serves as the executive director of the United Way of Southern West Virginia. I thank Trena for sharing not only her time, her talent, but also for being a treasure to Southern West Virginia. And I can tell that treasure is there because you can see it emanating from her bright smile and the work that she does with the United Way, where I say the United Way is finding ways to unite communities to make a way when there's no way. And I think that's so important for Southern West Virginia right now. We've had some of our brighter days. Some may say that's behind us. But as long as we continue to unite with one another, to strive to do better and be better, we will all be able to make a way out of no way. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me. Again, please visit wwnrradio.com for additional information about the United Way of Southern West Virginia and how you can help build our Communiversity today for a brighter Southern West Virginia tomorrow.
You've been listening to Our Communiversity Today, sponsored by Pendleton Community Bank and Cucumber & Company, a production of West Virginia University Institute of Technology and Communiversity partner, Southern Communications in Beckley. For more on this program and contact information, visit our website at wwnrradio.com.